Hey, when you draw waterfalls, do they look like they're still and they lack movement, unnatural? You know what? You're not alone. It's a common problem that many people have. Good news, there's an easy way to fix it. In today's lesson, I'm going to show you 3 simple tricks to make your waterfalls look natural and full of life. I'm going to show you how to use light and shadow to show depth. I'm going to show you how to group dark and light areas to create contrast. I'm going to show you how to break up the water flow using the letter V to show movement in your water. Grab your sketchbook and a pencil, like this video, you know the rules. Hey, my name is Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. Let's get to work. Well, let's go ahead and get started here. 3 things I want to show you that will help you just draw better waterfalls, okay? And we will hit those up throughout the video, and I'll point them out to you when we get to them, all right? But so first thing, let's go ahead and draw some type of border that's going to represent the width of our waterfalls here. When we are looking at this picture, there are a couple of things right away I want to point out to you that I want you to be aware of. First thing, and we've talked about this before, of atmospheric perspective. Atmospheric perspective means if an object is lighter in value, usually it means it's going back in space. For example, look at those mountains way in the back there. The contrast between light and dark isn't nearly as strong as these mountains that are close to us. That's something that we want to keep in mind, and that will make those mountains look much further back. So let's go ahead and divide our page up right now. Is this area, which is going to be the bottom, all right? And then we're going to look at that little shape in there. And then we're going to come in with this shape. And then we're going to get some mountains up here like this. There's my bottom shape right there. Just guesstimate here. This could vary, depends on what you end up doing. This doesn't have to be exact. Okay, there's the second shape. Let's come in here. This is going to be our next one, right about there, maybe, right? All right, there's one mountain. There's another one. And there's another one over there. Let's break this down. Let's break these shapes down a little bit more further. Look, we've got that main shape there for our waterfall. Let's put that in. And we've got this lovely rock there. Look at that. Look at this. I've got this kind of thing going here. You see that? Get that guy in just off to the edge here, because that's going to be some nice foreground. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this a little bit. We'll start getting into some details here. So let's start with the mountains way in the background, and we're going to keep them very light in value. So when I talk about values, I want you to think in terms of 3 values. So within each one of those values, we want to make slight adjustments. Let's look at our mountains far away, and let's just drop in a light, even tone going across them all. Okay, I'm going to start with the middle one, and I'm just going to come in just add a little more tone to the right side of it. And this top one, I could look at the picture there, and once again, I can kind of map out the shape that this tone is going to take in it. He said this place is in Vietnam. So there you go. If you ever travel out there, you'll have to go check this out. Now look at this. Look way in the distance there. You see that other mountain way back there? Let's put that in. That's going to be very light. The first mistake I want you to be aware of, and this picture shows it, is that when you're drawing waterfalls, you want to split the stream of the water, and it will be a far more interesting thing. I'm just going to start to drop in really the shadow, if you look, of those trees there, and I'm only looking really at the shape of the shadow. I'm going to come over here and add another little bit of shadow that I see inside the waterfall. And I'm holding back from doing a lot of outlining right now. All I'm doing is dropping in some value. Drop that one in. All I'm just looking is at shape these values here. Or better yet, drawing the negative shape. Drawing the negative space. Okay, I'm going to come way over here to the right side now and just start to map out where some of these darker areas are. This is the second common mistake that people will do, is that they will not group their values, okay? What I mean by that is keeping all the darks together and all the lights together. Even down here below in this water, I'm starting to put some value in that water. I think a lot of times we like to get into the drawing part, the sketching part, and in some cases that's, you're going to stick to a sketching idea, but what we're doing here is we're trying to get some value, and I think if you get value behind your lines, it really does help quite a bit. Okay, let's move up to this next level here, and I'm just gonna, once again, kind of drop in some of these darker areas I see. And then I'm moving on to that rock, that middle rock. Okay. All right, let's go back in now. Now the next thing I want you to do is I want you to add a light tone everywhere except the water. The water is the whitest of the page. So if you look at this bottom section here, you could just simply watch what I do. I'm just going to come in here and add an overall tone across the whole base except where the water is. I'm going to leave the water as really the white of the page. A lot of this is going to be covered up with detail, but by adding a value or a tone behind our lines, it's going to make our waterfall really pop out. A lot of people do like an underpainting if they're painting something. Well, I suppose this could be considered an underpainting, an underdrawing before we get to all the good stuff. I'm even going in and adding a little bit of tone to the sky, not where the clouds are, just where the sky is. So the three common mistakes. The first one is make sure that you split your stream. It makes it interesting, your waterfall. Okay, most people don't do enough splitting in their waterfall. And then number 2 is grouping your values, letting the water be the white of the page. It's okay if you have to erase, but I try and avoid erasing as much as I can, and just let the paper be the white of the page. All right, let's start off to the left-hand side here, and I'm going to start with this rock that's closest to us, and he is pretty dark in value because he's in shadow here. So I don't want to hold back in my tone here. And then also my strokes are straight up and down. This is going over the surface. And then slowly making my way across. Look at this right here. Look how dark it is at this moment. You want this to be super contrasty. There's another little shadow here. Okay, now I'm going to sharpen up my line in here and just going in detail of some of these trees I can see. So before I get into all this detail of these trees in here, I want to kind of get an idea. I want to kind of draw on a containment line. So as I get focused in the small stuff, I don't lose track of where things are at from a big standpoint, okay? So I'm just kind of slowly mapping out. This is where I want to take my trees and I don't want to go any further, okay? So now I'm going to go in here and just kind of work this area with dark value, like a medium value and a dark value. See how I'm keeping all my values kind of a medium and a dark in this whole area here? Trying to think of variation. Okay, so I kind of see a slight, not a mistake, but my proportion is a little bit different than what the picture is. So I'm just telling you this happens, okay? So as you look at yours and you might think, oh my gosh, this is awful looking. Well, guess what? Mine doesn't look like the picture either, so you're in good company. Okay, I'm going to jump over here and start to work on this other rock area here. And notice at the bottom how sharp the edge is. Very, very flat. You see that? Yeah, this area got... Look at that. Look how messed up I got on mine. So now I gotta come in here and make it up. One of the things I'm using right now is I'm just thinking of I'm thinking of overlap. What rocks are in front of other rocks? You see that? And that's happening right in here. I'm just kind of overlapping those guys. I'm going to move over now to the far right and get some of these. Again, I'm going to start off with the same idea. I'm going to start to really punch in where I see these shadows, somewhat just following shapes, getting my mind to see the shapes, the negative space. And this edge that is coming up against this waterfall here is pretty sharp. I hope that answers your question, Lana. Okay, so this top of the mountain up here, look, it gets really dark up here. You see this? And then it even has, I like this going on up here, that it has these branches, but they're really kind of in silhouette. So, you know, don't let any light come through on that stuff. Okay, so on this right side now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with another tone, because there's this, it's just two, I'm going to group my values. Just going over the whole thing with an even value. And the same thing I'm going to do on the right side as well. Even value across all of it. Which brings up an interesting idea, is that, you know, your eye is drawn to contrast. So if I have a let's just say I had two pictures here, okay, and I want to like bring your eye in, and of course I want your eye to look at this waterfall first. Well, in order for me to get you, let's just say like, in order for me to get you to focus on that dot, I'm going to create contrast. So essentially, I'm just going to darken everything around it. You see this? All right, now I got you focused in on the dot. Yeah. But let me take it a step more interesting. Let's just say we have our dot here. And let's say over here we don't go as dark in our value. This is organization of values. So now we have this here, and now in here I'm going to come in like this. I have some interesting shapes that are coming into the picture. I don't know. These are just interesting shapes that are going on. And all of a sudden the picture, especially the darker area here, becomes a little bit more interesting, you see? So what I've done here is used contrast to bring you to what I want you to look at. But then I've left some room to create different tones in those darker areas, so it makes it even more interesting. All right? All right, let's get back into the side mountain here and start getting some of this. Now we can start going in with a little detail with our pencils and start thinking about some of the texture that we are creating with the foliage. You're trying to find the right images. That's actually, that can be hard, because you end up spending a lot of time like, oh, should I draw that? Should I draw that? And trying to make that decision is not always easy. So, and it takes away from your drawing time. So once again, I'm going in here just trying to get variation in this foliage. Okay, I'm going to jump over across the other side of the waterfall here, and look, there's some, has some interesting rock surfaces. So I'm going to change the angle that I'm sketching to try and capture some of those. Okay, here's the number 3. Here's the 3 most common mistakes. You know, when water cascades over a surface, a lot of times right underneath where it falls over the surface, this is a crevice, or it's an alcove. So you can get a little bit darker value underneath here. So it's happening a little bit here. So let me show you where you might put something in to get that idea. Like maybe it's like right up here toward the top. You see that? Maybe it's here where it's just like behind the water. There's a bit of a cave. You see? What's going on over here? Let's see here. Okay, so maybe the water, and go light on this. Don't go too heavy. You want to respect all that beautiful value that you created by not drawing in that area. Careful too not to even up all your splitting of these streams here. Here's this island or jetty that's coming out here. I'm going to drop a little darker line there. All right. Ooh, look at that time. Okay, I'm going to jump up because of time. I'm going to jump up to that next level now because we can, and then you could come back and work on that a little bit more if you want. But again, let's now go back through this top level now. Remember, Don't make it nearly as dark as that bottom level here. This will create atmospheric perspective up here. Same. You're going to do the same exact thing that we just did down below. Looking for your darker areas. But you want to really hold back from making it as dark. Now, what's interesting in this area here is you want this darker than the mountains in the back, yet still lighter than the falls below it. Okay, so there's a nice even tone that I got for me. I'm going to come in here now and start blocking in a little bit darker value. Looking for those areas of value right in the middle of those waterfalls there. Gotta be careful. I'm partly saying this to myself as well, so I'm not. I'm going in here adding a little bit of line work now.
Vegetation.
So what will happen a little bit maybe is as you darken one area up on top, then you're going to have to come down to the next level and darken that a little bit more. And then that's going to drive you to the next level, you see? Kind of coming up to the end here. Just keep adjusting the values. Focus. Okay, I think that's going to do it for today. If you do have additional questions, please join our Facebook group. It's totally for free. Post your questions in there. You can direct it toward me, or even down here in the comments below. You can ask a question and I will try and answer it my best. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. All right. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Okay. Bye-bye.